So it's down to one final race, ladies and gentlemen. One final time we go out and get all these battles sorted, and this might just be the best of the lot. This might just be the time. This might just be the place. This might just be the rhyme or the reason to get yourself in for what is some incredible racing action. We are here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the conjunction of 16th Street and Georgetown as we get ourselves ready to tackle the yard of bricks, the 4 fabled corners, and 100 laps worth of racing today. I'm Jake Sparey, William Foyle along with me for the ride here tonight with Crest Autosport on YouTube on this fantastic race that we've got going forward. Of course, today we are brought forward by Apex Tracks, the motorsport and motor racing circuit wall art racetrack sculpture designers who manufacture using Formula One and motorsport inspired rapid prototyping technologies. That goes along with 603 Autosport, 3D Wrap, Track Racer, Digital Motorsport, Esports Sim, and the GP Box today. Important to talk about. This is round number 12, the final round, and this round is extra special. We are here in April, 1 month ahead of that famous month of May when it comes to sim racing and Indianapolis 500s, when they start to get themselves worked in and brilliant racing provides itself up to the very top. And so today, plaque prizes will be provided to definitely to the winner of this Indianapolis 100 round, as well as the top 3 drivers in the championship, and they're provided by Uncle Luke's sign and sticker shop. But because this is the final round, 100 laps of racing and a crown jewel in the series, the winner of this Indianapolis 100 will receive a fabulous prize provided by Apex Tracks, and that is a sculpture of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway to pin up on their driver wall. It is qualifying at the top of the hour, about 4 minutes from now, and it will be a little bit different. Instead of it being that reverse qualifying we have seen, because there are going to be so many drivers here trying to put their time in, It's a 10-minute open qualifying session and 2 laps to set in order to get up to the very, very top of the field. From there will be a 5-minute warm-up, and then there will be 100 laps worth of racing action overall. So let's move ourselves to how the championship looks walking into the final round here today, and it is a very, very simple formula out here for Thijs Barendregt. The championship is not wrapped up, but it's the easiest task that Thijs Barendregt has had in his life. He needs to get onto track, qualify wherever he needs to, and set 1 lap around this Indianapolis circuit. So that is as simple as it gets for Thijs Barendregt. If he manages that, no matter what happens in this race, he will be crowned the champion for the 2nd consecutive season and will go down as the first 2-time champion here. Timothy Stroh will try everything in his powers to get himself forward. He needs to do everything and hope that Thijs Barendregt falls into some issues out there. There were concerns that he wouldn't make it here today to this race, suffering very heavily with illness. It might be a case that he'll be racing with 2 tissues stuffed up his nose, but either which way, it's not going to be the prettiest photo when he wins, but he'll win unless there are issues before he gets over to starting the racing outright. So that's how it looks. Stroh versus Everitt as well. The fight for 2nd in the championship is worth an eye in as well. Ben Bennyworth has a shot of taking 3rd away, but I think he may be a little bit too far back to reach top 3 over the course of the action that we have got. In terms of this track, though, we all know and understand that it is the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It is a 2.5-mile oval with 4 corners and very much a box as you drive around the long runs from 4 to 1 and from 2 towards turn number 3. They are going to be the keys. But let's talk about the team's championship for just a moment here, because that one is almost wrapped up for Crest Autosport with Apex Tracks. They've got a 17-point buffer at the front of that, but they're racing up against only Timothy Stroh, and there are 2 drivers for the Crest Autosport team. They have themselves Ollie Peters and Alex Everitt, so no matter which way this one goes, you feel that 2 against 1 has it covered unless they both crash out in the early stages of the race. So that's just something to keep in the back of the mind. That team's championship, ALP confirmed to 3rd, 603 Autosport confirmed for 4th position, and that will sort themselves out quite nicely. But this track certainly is going to be really cool. We've got a lot of drivers out there trying to put times in on the books, and at the moment, 17 representative laps of the 18 drivers who are here for this final round. There is Alfredo Morales, completely trimmed out machines here today at Indianapolis. He's currently 4th fastest and looking for a good result in the ALP machine here today. But this track, you can see, it's all about managing the corners, the short shoots in towards turn 2. Every corner around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is a challenge within itself, and that will always be something that drivers will be keeping in the back of their minds, that every which way they try and go out there, they try and look, they try and tackle these laps. No 2 laps are ever the same, with the way that the degradation of the tyres go through, with how you're fighting every element of the wind, of the grip that you have underneath you. It is always going to be a tall order challenge here on YouTube to see just how they are all going to get things going. What is worth noting, though, today is that the weather will match the real-life weather over at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and it will be reverted to basic usage here until the warm-up, which carries over to the race. So track temperature out there so far as the checker flag goes out, it's 19-degree air temp, 39-degree track temp, wind from the southeast at 19 kilometers an hour, as we just move ourselves then into qualifying out there overall. So now it's the time to just settle down and put the laps in. 10 minutes or 2 laps, whichever goes first. And the first driver out will be the number 2 machine of Alex Everitt, who I have just in front of him, just going through Ollie Peters. So the 2 Crest Autosport with Apex Tracks cars going out there to set their laps. It's closed qualifying, my apologies. So be it the fact that we are in closed qualifying conditions, drivers will be on their own trying to set these laps and trying to get as much as they can from it, as Peters will be the first through. Alex Everitt there just behind, but we'll go with Everitt here, see what he can set. The second laps should be a little bit stronger than the first, so you can see there's that little bit of correction to the right as they go on this front stretch over the yard of bricks in towards the left of turn number 1. You can see ducking right down to the white line then, and then the very difficult turn 2 is a little bump. It's very easy to get too aggressive through 2, push off of the exit, get right up to the wall, and now work the back stretch and make sure there is as minimal turn in that car as possible. Turn 3 always feels like the easiest corner of the 4, but it does set up this run into turn 4. Stuffs J.R. Hildebrand what it's like on the final lap when you go through turn 4. Anything is possible at these sorts of races, to give Blake Dan Weldon one of his final wins in IndyCar. Over the line goes Everitt. 39.180 was quicker by 0.06 of a second in comparison to Ollie Peters. So a good start then in terms of qualifying effort, but a number of drivers are out there trying to set times. One of them is Jeremy Pronk, and one of the others is Aaron Smith, making his first start in the series. So those times coming in, Logan Egan goes second, but Pronk goes fastest by 0.02 of a second, 39.178. He can be happy with that, and I think he's abandoned his second lap out there. So he's managed to get something down on the books at the moment. I've just seen in the wall Nigel Stocks, so Stocks taking a tow back to the pits. But at the moment, there is Aaron Smith. He's looking to improve here, is the American Aaron Smith II. And he's got also out there on track the 66 of Shane Burke. So some of the newcomers looking to go for it out there. And you can't get that close to the wall, as Dominic Saviki actually jumps up to third fastest. Great time from him with his run, a 1.94. That's pretty good from the Polish driver. And he'll be looking for a good second lap to complement that first as well. So he's hoping that he's got enough in the back pocket that gives him that run to move up to the very, very top. But Shane Burke goes fastest then. 39.155, number 66. Up there at the very front. He's got himself exactly what he wants. Savicki's diving into the pits. There is the Irish driver, Shane Burke. And he's certainly hoping for a good run. But so too, car number 44. Out there today. He's just got himself out on track, and there he is, Timothy Stroh. You can see just how much as he goes to start his flying lap. That rear tyre was pointed in. He's really working around with those in-car tools, the anti-roll bar and the weight jacker, giving himself maybe as much turning as he possibly can, really trying to show just how good he is. Lars Petter Anderson goes second fastest then, with his lap at 39.169, splits Burke and Pronk out there going forward. But Stroh has been the oval maestro when it has come to qualifications, making that charge then through 4 and on that run to the yard of bricks. Has he got enough to take pole position away? Answer is, oh, absolutely, by 0.5. Stroh was motoring around the track, and he gets a wonderful lap in on the books. That is a huge qualifying lap, but Thijs Barendrecht out there at the moment. Fran Herrera might have something to say. Lars Petter Anderson's laps are all done. He couldn't improve on his second attempt. Ervind Anderson is also there trying to get something sorted. But here's Stroh moving about then through 4. Is there improvement to his lap of a 39.1? He'll make the run towards the line. Is it enough? The answer's no. So 1 lap seemingly enough for it, and Barendrecht's just backed out of his first lap here. So he will have 1 more. But crucially, there's Lars Petter Anderson. He's out of laps. Not many drivers out there. Fran Herrera is one of them, though. He's out on a lap. They can see him making a run to the line. His first lap is a 39.324. That's 11th fastest with that lap time. And that's a pretty solid attempt for go number 1. And maybe go 2 might be the better one for the Spaniard out there. A couple of Spaniards in the field, of course. Inigo Mardones out there on track as well, searching for a good time. Ervind Anderson just crossing the line as well. He doesn't improve, but Herrera, we stay with our focus, moving through that difficult final corner of turn 4. God, you can't get much closer than that to the wall. So he will run for the line. What time can he get at the line? Morales goes third fastest. It was an improvement there for Fran Herrera, but it's only an improvement to 10th overall. So Morales finding a time for ALP will be easy with that. But on his final lap right now is Thijs Barendregt in the number 1. He has, at this stage, only got to complete a lap to be the reigning champion out there once again to get his second title. He gets really close. You can see him really wobble almost against the wall. He is really pushing the fine margins in his, I would say, flu race. Might be the way to call it. Michael Jordan had a flu game. Barendrecht's going to have a flu race, and it's a 39.237. It's good enough to go 8th fastest in his condition at the moment. So no improvement for him. Only one driver out there can set laps at the moment. That is Inigo Mardones. David Graybill can also set laps. He's just gone out onto track as well. So we'll focus with Mardones for the moment inside the final 3 minutes here of qualifying. They have all of the 10 minutes available, but crucially, they cannot finish their laps when the timer expires at 10 minutes. That's it. Any lap that you're on gets dealt with. And so that is always something that drivers have to be alert to in terms of the way they're going about it. Mardones now running through here, turn 2, and on this back stretch, this is where you're going to see a majority of the moves being done, trying to get that attempt into turn number 3. And that long waiting left-hander, middle of the road, though, gets caught up on the wrong groove a little bit there, does Mardones, and that is going to hurt his time a bit. It's very easy not to tip the car in low and then just struggle and understeer back out. Mardones then going across the line. It's a 40.1. That's right down at the back. That was basically a banker. Try and secure himself ahead of David Graybill. And at least at this moment in time, there is Graybill, and he is searching for some good lap times out there at the moment. Struggling a little bit with his connection, which is not ideal for him, especially as he's gone 4th fastest at this moment in time. So he is certainly hoping that he can go out there, he can get everything that he wants out of his laps, and a 39.160 certainly has done him some favors. So we'll see how it goes in terms of his race. He'll be definitely wanting to hope that those issues do not hurt him out long term from the plains in the United States of America. So ultimately, as he runs for the line a second time, 39.280 does not improve. So everybody then is done with their efforts in qualifying, and we can confirm that a bonus point, the first job, has been done correctly by number 44, Timothy Stroh. A 39.102 is going to be good enough today to put him on the front for pole position. It makes his life a little easier with those behind. Shane Burke will start alongside him on the front with Alfredo Morales in 3rd and David Graybill in 4th position. Lars Petter Anderson starts 5th with Jeremy Pronk in 6th. Alex Everitt going after this race. He starts 7th with Dominic Saviki in 8th place. Thijs Barendregt then, as we'll be jumping ourselves over to the next stage as we go forward. There we go and get it. It is going to be then Thijs Barendregt starting in 9th position. He just has to complete 1 lap to go and get his title. Logan Egan rounds out the top 10. Nice to see him back. He was with us at the early part of the season. Ollie Peters starts 11th with Fran Herrera in 12th. Following that is Ben Bennyworth, Nigel Stock. Øyvind Anderson is there in 15th position with Stephen de Grevalier. Then you've got Aaron Smith with a 39.5, and rounding out the field on a 40.1 is Inigo Mardones in 18th position. So a little bit of work then to be done. A little bit of battling in the not too distant future. But at least what we can say out there with what is so incredible and what we do love about racing and all of what Indianapolis Motor Speedway seems to give us time and time again is that this is a longer race than what we have seen throughout the majority of the season. It is 100 laps long, and it does mean that we get a different style of racing. We get a couple pit stops normally are 1 stops in this series, sometimes 2. This would normally be, if it was traditional length for the majority of the season, about a 55 to 60 lap race. Because this is 100 laps, and we're not doing ourselves the traditional 100 to 200 miles, we're doing 250 miles, it is going to be a much tougher foray, and endurance will be tested around this one. And more important than that, expect here today that one fast repair to potentially come in handy for a whole bunch of drivers as they go about their racing, as they try and navigate what is some incredible action out there. Still, though, you have to say that this is a field which Stroh wants to dominate. He wants to win this one. He has proven to be potentially the fastest driver on the oval over 1 lap pace, but 1 lap pace hasn't got him a title this season, and he'll just be hoping that he can crown it off, the German driver in the most famous number of all in racing right now, number 44. You'll be hoping that he gets himself all that he wants. Just dipping a little bit onto that curb there through Foyle. You've got to be careful about that. And do expect the tyres to really pay a huge price over the course of this race. This is a 41-degree track at this moment in time. In sim time, just jumping about towards 20 past 1. It is peak weather at this moment, and it's going to be a very tough challenge as they battle. So do not count anything out from happening. Expect this to be a very tactical race. And if those gaps can be made early, then that might just be the ultimate challenge to run away with in terms of what is the all-important race. These 100 laps, anything possible out there overall. Nice to see some new drivers there, especially nice to see some new drivers up the order, to see Shane Burke, to see David Graybill up there, the Dominic Saviki up inside the top 10 as well. It's always very impressive to see. And for Shane Burke, they're starting in second, trial by fire, up against the driver second in the championship in terms of first and second on the grid for this one. So it's definitely going to be an interesting battle. And as we all know as well, this is the sort of race here, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where anything is possible. A lot of great racing does happen, and especially in sim racing terms as well. The iRacing Indianapolis 500, I think, is probably hallmark, as legendary as some of the great sim racing that goes out there, especially the broadcasted splits that get their time, that get their opportunity. You cannot ask for too much better in terms of what they offer. But over the yard of bricks goes Shane Burke, 12th fastest in the warm-up, but the warm-up is literally the final stages. And the one thing that I think has to be said more than anything else here is that qualifying set and qualifying trim is a lot different to race trim. And a lot of drivers spend hours upon hours and pour their heart, blood, soul, sweat and tears into putting a great qualifying set in. A race set is a lot different. It's composed differently. Some drivers will make progress through this race and gain a lot of places through their ability to work the race set a little bit better. And you can see that Mark trying to dive into the pits. We might see a couple of drivers locking up the tyres and spinning up and putting themselves in a bit of trouble. That slowdown from the highest speeds possible to the slowest speeds possible, especially with that little turn in that you get on the wheel, that you don't hold the wheel straight, it's always going to be difficult. But warm-up then is done and is in the books. We will be able to take ourselves then up. Timothy Stroh will have control of the field, a 39.102. He will have Shane Burke, the Irishman, along for company. The Venezuelan Alfredo Morales starts in third. Following that is David Graybill in fourth. Lars Petter Anderson starting fifth, along with Jeremy Pronk in sixth. Alex Everitt will go from seventh, with Dominic Saviki in eighth. And remember, just 1 lap for Thijs Barendregt, and he becomes the champion. He starts ninth, with Logan Egan in 10th. Ollie Peters and Fran Herrera, they have row 6 of the grid. That follows up then with Ben Bennyworth in 13th and Nigel Stock in 14th position. Ervind Anderson will go from 15th, with Stephen de Grevalier in 16th. And then you've got Aaron Smith and Inigo Mardones rounding out the 18 cars here today, tackling what is 100 laps at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So there is a lot to keep in mind. There is a lot to pay heed to. All 18 drivers are out there on the grid, but it's not the only port of call for racing that we have here with Crest Autosport, because coming up pretty soon, sign-ups are now open for the Race Room World Touring Car Championship. Sign-ups open for a 6-round season that ends at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps for the Spa 50 Endurance. Make sure you check that out over the course of May and June. 5th of May is the start over at Portimao. So keep that in mind, as racing will soon be getting itself going there. But in terms of today, it is all about the big race, that big fish at the very end, being position number 1 at the end of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on lap 100, and picking up that all-important victory and that prize provided by Apex Tracks of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. This is not an easy race. It is not going to be one for the faint of heart, and we have seen time in and time out, races do end up in trouble between now and the end. Do not count your chickens. This is going to be a long one. This is going to be a hard-fought one, and it is going to depend on strategy and a lot of counting back as they go on forward. So it is all about what that driver at the front, number 44, can do. He's got the most pole positions this season. He'll be looking behind him. Morales he knows about. Lars Petter Anderson he's seen. Pronk, Everitt, all there. And they've got a couple of new drivers, Burke, Graybill and Saviki, to worry about. Pace car is going to flick itself off left. The iRacing sedan pace car. Timothy Stroh will have control of the field then as we go racing here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Green flag in the air, and we are underway here at the Yard of Bricks. Moving forward then in towards turn number 1. It's nice and clean through the front 4 rows, and even looking back through the field, everyone making it through nicely. You can see trying to work a line, and now you start attacking over the course of turn number 2. Morales with a monster run, trying to get himself up there. So too now David Graybill looking towards the inside, but he hits a very big wall of air. That means he struggles to find a way through, and struggling up a little bit is Jeremy Pronk. That brings Thijs Barendregt to his inside as he runs through 3 and 4. Thijs Barendregt will come to the line, and he will be your champion for the Crest Autosport IndyCar Series. Well, that was quick. Let's get on with the racing. Still, though, it is going to be Timothy Stroh who is going to be out there trying to win this race outright. His chance for victory in terms of the overall championship is gone, but now it's about focus and making progress through. Good move from Ollie Peters coming up in the rear of the field. You can see a little bit of side-by-side there as Everitt's trying to have a little look as well, but Ollie Peters jumps ahead of Logan Egan. He gains a nice spot then with that pass, and it's the front 7 or 8 who've got themselves clear. Pronk trying to come back here through 4 to get by Thijs Barendregt, and he can't quite manage it. So the 2 Dutch drivers then line astern, they will have to wait, and Egan is the driver who is going backwards here in the early stages of this race. He is the one struggling a little bit to find that pace. He's staying well out of the way of everyone as he takes the bottom line. Big run up on the top there from Fran Herrera, and he'll be certainly hoping that he's got a good run in the not too distant future. Apologies here, ladies and gentlemen, for all of that there. Just a couple of issues there on my end, but it is going to be a very, very tough battle. Front 4 look like they are clear. Alfredo Morales is looking the most likely to go out there to battle, to attack, to gain the position, but hasn't really been able to make a move on number 66, Shane Burke. He's been closing up nicely in the draft, hasn't found that angle over towards the inside, and here on lap 4, he'll be certainly hoping that he has a chance and an opportunity to make that happen, and he's just not, at this moment, in the right place, getting the right line sorted. He's trying a different line through 4, trying to attack off of the exit of the corner. But really, it's that run into 1, and they are very evenly spaced by about 1 car length between them. He's going to get close, but not close enough to make a move. Ben Bennyworth is another driver trying to find a move back there in 11th position here in this race. There's Lars Petter Anderson in 5th, and there is the battle for the top 10, with Ollie Peters holding that one station. Team's championship currently firmly in the grasp of Crest Autosport with Apex Tracks, as here comes Ben Bennyworth to the inside on the back stretch, moving towards turn number 3, and he's not able to get it because that outside line, you can hold the speed, and it's very much telling how the banking works around this place. Bennyworth thought he had it on the inside. It's a wily character here. You never know how it is going to play out as they go through forward. So what is key in this race is having people around you who can help. Yes, this is an individual star race, but teammates do help. Anderson is in 5th, Barendregt in 6th. The basic racing team are going to have to work together here to get to the back of David Graybill. They're about half a second down, and they can't afford to lose that time over the course of a race like this. Driving on forward then. Through turn 3 go the leaders, and they're in 5th and 6th, going through towards turn number 4 and trying to mastermind a way forward. Caution flag comes out, and it will come out for Fran Herrera, whose car is absolutely beached on the back as he goes through. An issue going into turn number 3, and his race will have to be reliant on a fast repair early. 6 laps of racing, and he just understeered through 3, went into the wall hard, and then back out onto the circuit. That is why we have a caution flag here in terms of this race. So a little bit of slowing. Let's have a little look then, see exactly how this one came about. Herrera just running through 3, and he just understeers in these hot conditions, gets into the wall, and bang, that's a heavy hit, especially as he had air as he made contact, and very lucky that nobody else got caught there in terms of that accident. So a huge crash, and one which effectively puts the race as neutralised here at this moment. So Timothy Stroh leading 7 laps of this race so far from the front, and this is where we're going to start seeing maybe the differences in strategy. Some drivers will elect to take their way into the pits. Other drivers will decide to stay out and give themselves another run around on the tyres that they've got so far. 7 laps. Probably wouldn't expect many drivers to dive in. It is early. You don't really lose anything towards the rear, and already we're starting to see a couple of drivers thinking about it. No look from Shane Burke, throws the dummy, but everyone behind Thijs Barendregt is in there. So that is going to be pretty much everybody in, apart from Mardones, and a little bit of reiteration going through that Shane Burke has got to be careful about throwing a dummy. You cannot throw the dummy due to the rulebook. So a whole heap of drivers diving in, looking to get themselves fresh tyres, looking to get themselves a run forward. You can see everyone trying to find their marks, their box. That's a very awkward stop at the back there for one of the 603 Autosport cars. But as they will escape out of the pits, it is Jeremy Pronk who's got the better stop. He will leapfrog Barendregt. Everitt will be along with it for the ride as well. Saviki just staying quiet here in this one. I believe Aaron Smith was a little bit, I would say, skewed in the box. And everyone just making their way out then after their opening pit stops out there. So 7 laps the difference in terms of the tyres. And that will give a lot of range in the mid part of this race. An extra 7 laps here and there, if it does go green for a long distance, will do wonders. And we should see a very, very important battle out there between now and the end of this race, between those who have made strategic calls and those who maybe haven't. But one caution here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We know what they say, that cautions do breed cautions, and that you always have to be alert to your surroundings. And everyone else is going to be hoping that their best opportunity is going to be about what they do, how they do it, and who is gaining. So Inigo Mardones is the interesting one in all of that. Was at the back of the field and decided didn't want to go in. Now, we are seeing now finally Mardones going in a lap later. So It's going to get a lap on everybody else, and it's going to be followed through by Aaron Smith once again. So Smith will also dive back into the pits. So that is going to be a all-important challenge between now and the end of this one. How those two drivers, maybe with better tyres than the rest of the field, they go through and just try and get maybe fuel numbers up. How they can go long, 30 laps there or thereabouts is what they should be expecting. So we could be in for a really, really fun throwdown in terms of how those drivers towards the rear want to make their way through. If this does go long, 100 laps, you know, we're talking about the fine margins. We're expecting about 30 laps, 30, 31. Pitting lap 6, lap 7 should give you margin to get to the end. A lot of cautions, though, will certainly skew the strategy outright. We might see a number of drivers trying to work the oracle, push themselves forward, get themselves the angles and the desires that they want. But that driver there, number 1, knows that if he wants to keep Alex Everitt at bay, an extra bonus point for leading the most laps in the race is certainly going to be of use to him. He's got the 5 drivers, or the 4 drivers behind him, that were quickest in tow. But as we can see with the pace car, the lights are off. We'll be diving down into the pits. We'll be back underway on lap 10 of 100 here. And Stroh will have control. He does let it go and launch. And we'll be back then to racing here. Green flag will be back out in the air. And we are underway for the second time here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Nicely single file. Barendregt and Everitt 2 wide. This is what we saw all of last season. And a fair bit of this one as well. Everitt down on the low side through 2. Really up against the apron, trying to make that attack. Barendregt not having any of it, and he has the help of the draft in front from one Jeremy Pronk, and Everitt couldn't get the move done. Has to shuffle back into line. Top 3 breaking away. Graybill was not quite on it on the start. In the wall. In the wall goes Lars Petter Andersen. That's a huge issue out there, and the caution comes out for it. A big, big incident for Lars Petter Andersen, who finds himself in the wall on the outside, and that will bring the field back out again. De Grevelier diving into the pits. He got damaged through that section as well, because he tagged the wall coming out there before. Look at that wheel there just resting on top as he goes down the pits. Definitely not what he was hoping for there, as he tries to get that car into his box and uses fast repair. But Lars Petter Andersen, that hit there on the outside, certainly not what he was hoping for, and he is trying to stay out and not incur a penalty as he goes. So cautions get cautions, but this is where it goes wrong. There, bang, in the back, in the wall there, you saw there, Lars Petter Andersen. And it is so simple on a restart. Everyone thinks you can push through turn 3, but you have to let those tyres get back in, and bang, in the wall once, twice, 3 times. He just has to ride his way up the wall, and that is a caution. And that ultimately means that it is trouble out there in this one. It does give an extra couple laps, though, to just stay calm. This race is not going to be the easiest one out there. Logan Egan also having to dive into the pits. I think he also got a clip of the wall to go along with his troubles. But it has left not many people able to go and make the right decisions. No takers this time onto the lane, or are there? Because Saviki's going to dive back in again, change his strategy up even further compared to those around. He's going to be followed in by Anderson, of course, who's got the damage. Ollie Peters is going to jump in. Ervind Anderson is coming in, and so too is Aaron Smith. We expect Aaron Smith to come in every single time. And for Stephen de Grevelier, he does have a penalty for entering a closed pit. So effectively, he will go and serve that as he dives in. Ollie Peters with damage that is terminal as well. So as well as Ervind Anderson. So I'm curious to see what happened to Ollie Peters and Ervind Anderson just before the caution came out, because it's not traditional that they would be ones that they were hoping for it. Peters himself was fighting with Ben Bennyworth into 3. It seemed like everybody had an issue into 3. Here's the look. You can see Peters coming through the corner effectively here. Bennyworth just gets a huge boatload of understeer. You can see he goes through. He's going to get the understeer here. Peters forced to the outside, and he finds the wall and immediately ducks it down low. And then Øyvind Andersen, I think, just does exactly the same thing following De Grevelier. He absolutely does, and tags the wall coming out of 3. So a lot of drivers getting themselves into trouble with turn 3, and it's these hotter conditions that are catching the drivers out, and they will have to be aware of that. They have to be careful through 3. 3 has been the danger corner. 3 has been the trouble corner. And it will be a very, very tough battle between now and the end. It might even be the sort of scrap we see that come the end of 100 laps, that they'll be hoping that it isn't a case of 50 laps of caution running. 2 cautions already found here in this one. Timothy Stroh, your leader, has led every lap so far. Burke in 2nd, Morales 3rd, Graybill in 4th. The top 4 have remained unchanged so far here in this Indianapolis 100 race that we have got here with Crest Autosport, the final run. Now, Inigo Mardones again is diving into the pits a lap after everybody else, dropping himself to the back of the pack and looking to try and make that all work. We've seen it quite a bit with Inigo in terms of what he does. This will put him in on lap 12 and 12 laps ahead of the leaders. And you would say if it goes green to the end, good for 2 more stops. If he can get himself to lap 40 and lap 70, he should be good from there, having pitted on lap number 12. So taking the short stop out of the equation, taking fueling out of the equation, should be a very, very good run that they will have between now and the end. This is going to be, right now, a case of who can do what. One driver a lap down in this race is Fran Herrera. There is no lucky dog for him. He is in the middle of this pack right now, just behind Nigel Stock, just ahead of Dominic Saviki, who is in 10th position. So Fran Herrera already a lap down, with a lot of work to do for the RDR Lagoon Sim Racing car. And he'll be hoping that Dallara IR18 makes progress forward in the next stages of the race. Lights on the pace car then are off. We are going back to green flag running, and we will be going back on lap 14 here for Timothy Stroh. He will certainly be hoping that his race runs with some absolute great racing. He'll be on the outside, covering off that attempt to overtake on the restart. Of course, here in iRacing, you can only overtake on the restart on the outside. So if you go up to the wall, you can't be overtaken by strategy. Pace car dives in. Timothy Stroh with control. Shane Burke 2nd. Alfredo Morales 3rd. David Graybill 4th. Green flag back in the air. We are back underway here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And it was a good jump, but not so much. Again, for Thijs Barendregt and Jeremy Pronk, it again allows Everitt that chance to try and slip underneath, steal a position away, potentially. And he can't quite find the angle. Pronk, best of the drivers who pitted under the first caution. He'll certainly be looking for a run. Top 3 looking pretty close again. But once more, they have to play that waiting game as they run in towards 3 once again, which has been a trouble corner out there on track. Everyone just trying to manage their way through this time, and they all do. And as they charge through towards 4 and now on towards that yard of bricks, that all-important heritage and history symbol, here comes Morales for 2nd position, in towards 1, making the pass on number 66, Shane Burke, executing the order and making the move, going up into 2nd place. So a good move there from Morales. He jumps up then right behind one Mr. Timothy Stroh. And for the first time, Stroh starts the Serpentine, made famous here at Indianapolis. Behind that, though, here comes Thijs Barendregt, stuffy nose and all, as he tries to get it working on the inside. But again, around the outside, it's sorted. And it works itself out nicely. Big gaggle of cars, by the way, in the mid to late pack right now. Around Anderson, you've got De Grevelier there, Aaron Smith, Ollie Peters, Øyvind Andersen, all there in the back. They're really trying to have a race right now down there, and it could get very dicey very quickly if those cars all find themselves in a little bit of trouble. Peters had to wiggle through one. That would have sent the heebie-jeebies there, but there you can see at the front, there's Ollie Peters, as he tries to go around. Barendregt, I think, has got himself the angle on Pronk in the battle for 5th place. They go into turn 3 once again, and Pronk around the outside. Oh, that was commitment, as he left a lot on the entry to attack that exit. And there was nothing really that Thijs Barendregt could really do about it. Oh, and there's trouble. There is trouble out there, and it's Nigel Stock in trouble out there on the circuit, in the wall on the outskirts of 4, and that will slow the pace back down again. He will make it to the pits. He's got a puncture on the back, it looks like. He's got a front tyre that's definitely hurt as well. And Nigel Stock, a big crash for him on his own, going through turn 3 again, causing the issues. And it's not traditional that turn 3's the trouble corner, but today it is, and it might be down to the fact we've got southeasterly winds at 19 kilometers an hour that's really playing havoc. So once again, it slows itself down, 3rd caution of the race. And there is Timothy Stroh here as he tries to get as much as he can from it. So, at least in terms of this race, Stock coming in to make his stop and out and away again. There is Timothy Stroh, who just controlling as much as he wants to at this point in time. And he knows that he's got a long way to go. Let's take a look at the replay, though, for Nigel Stock as he was going through. That was a little bit earlier on. That was the Deccan incident out there where everyone found themselves in trouble. We're looking for the incident that happened just recently at this point in time. And that's the back end of it for Nigel Stock, a heavily damaged car. So if we can just jump a little bit earlier to that, we might have a chance to see exactly how it goes wrong. And that's Logan Egan's view as he goes through. And there again is Nigel Stock in the wall. So unable to really get the end of that one then as they go through. But what we can say is Nigel Stock finding the wall, just understeered through 3. And his day effectively coming to turmoil right there. So it is going to be a little bit more difficult as they go by, but I think now might be the decision that drivers might want to come in and pit. And Stroh's going to come in, Morales, Burke and Graybill all in. Barendregt and Everitt's going to follow, but staying out there is Jeremy Pronk for 1, then Bennyworth then for 2, Herrera there for 3. He's going to feel desperately unlucky because he nearly gets his lap back actually out there on track. So that could have been a huge disaster with the way that goes. Another few drivers stay out. Even Anderson stays out last. Petter Anderson also staying out. So the 2 Andersons in this race. That's not going to be confusing. Anderson versus Anderson. Mardones staying out. Stock, of course, has already made a stop. He's now a lap down. But it's a battle off the lane. I expect Stroh to win it, and he does. But that's a great stop, actually, in the middle. And actually jumping everybody there was David Graybill. He gets 2 spots for it. Beats Burke. Beats Morales out of the pits. So a good stop. Aaron Smith with the light top up as well. He gets a jump on Saviki and Barendregt. Barendregt with a poor stop, actually. He's going to drop way back down the field. So it's all change here. Jeremy Pronk now will take his first lap's lead in this race. And will do so for the Dutch sim racing team in the number 52 Dallara. And we'll have Ben Bennyworth in the 96 for company just behind him on lap 19 out of 100. It is worth noting here, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a time limit in this race. It is 1 hour and 45 minutes in terms of sorting this race out, getting exactly what you want from it. And this is the sort of race where you can say, right, you need to try and focus about this. You've gone through the opening 20 laps. It's been very stop-start. Drivers won't have a rhythm sorted in this, and it might be what is contributing that lack of rhythm to drivers not quite understanding what they need to do around this circuit. But what they also need to know and understand is that one green flag run and you will see the true pace of drivers out there. Some drivers electing to try and pit in, and one of the things that they will be also keeping in mind is how much they're putting heat cycles into their tyres as they go out and they race. Every time they are going through and battling, as Mardones on cue is going to dive into the pits as he looks to get a lap on the field as per usual. It's an interesting strategy. Nigel Stock also back in again, looking to pit. No reason not to when he is a lap down. But the keys here are drivers trying to find that extra bit of consistency, that heat cycle. Every time they go through, they change their tyres. They try and get as much as they can out of a race like this. They know that with every set that they go through, every cycle of a restart, they are heating up the tyres. They're putting a lot of energy into them and actually scrubbing those tyres off. So 2 or 3 restarts, and those tyres may just be no good come at the end of a race. That's why drivers are going to be a little bit concerned. Jeremy Pronk's decided he wants to be the pace car, ladies and gentlemen, so he will be the pace car for a little bit. As a lot of sim racers like doing that. It's one of the good things of having a I would say, non-real or non-damageable safety car out there. Credit to iRacing for that. But Timothy Stroh in and out of the pits in position number 5. So hasn't really lost much by pitting when he did. The 4 drivers in front will be certainly looking to try and stave off any challenges. And it'll be the first time we see Stroh trying to make some moves through the pack. And when it does start to get jumbled up like this, you get differing paces and drivers who have figured things out compared to maybe some others, and that difference does come into play. Lights off on top of the pace car. We are going back to green flag running. 3 cautions so far. Lap 21. We will get back going again with. Car's going to dive left. Pace with Jeremy Pronk. Pennyworth just behind. The lap down car of Fran Herrera will want moves as well. Green flag, and we're back going here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Irvin Anderson really slow off of that start and is really opened up to allow Lars Petter Anderson to go through. Stroh has a little wiggle through the corner. He's okay as he tries to dice and fight his way through, and everyone up on the top side. Oh, there's a huge accident out there. There's a huge accident. That will be another one. Saviki in trouble. Ollie Peters, Mardones, all in it. All in it. A huge crash. And that will throw out a 4th caution immediately. And this time it's at turn 1. And pretty much off the exit of it, a huge accident around Saviki. And it was just a case of Saviki grabbing the grass, grabbing the curbing through turn number 1. And ultimately by just actually didn't even. He just, the back just stepped. So we'll get a little look at it and see exactly how it all came about. You can see he's getting up to pace through 1. Back just hooks. And he's trying to keep the car, but Ollie Peters has gone low, and that has not worked. And it is certainly not ideal in terms of that one. Ollie Peters, you can see all 4 wheels gone on it. That is an absolute tow. Saviki as well. No way they were going to get those back. But that was a big accident between them. Ollie Peters doing everything right, ducking down low, but it just did not work out there. And Inigo Mardones as well, getting caught up in it. And he's driving around right now with 3 wheels on his wagon, trying desperately to stay on the leading lap and use his fast repair accordingly. So the Necky Racing Team driver, they had such great success last season around here. Not so much this time around. So drivers are trying to save as much as they can over the course of this long stint. It's a 4th caution. And they wouldn't have been happy that they've got themselves there. Thoughts of it, but just before the line, Jeremy Pronk gets away with that one. Just before ducking down in. And everyone starts to check up and find their lane, find their marks. Thijs Barendregt will be the first driver then to make a decision. He'll come back down in for a pit stop. New set of boots, more fuel, gets himself in. Mardones will also follow. In terms of that hit off of the 4th caution of this race. Slow going off of the start here. But this is what happens sometimes in races like these. Everyone wants to try and impress, wants to try and improve. And if they put themselves in the wrong position, just takes one car, cause a bigger accident. A couple cars in the wall with big damage. And now drivers find themselves laps down here in this race. But Pronk with control. Pennyworth, Lars Petter Anderson in 3rd, and Timothy Stroh in 4th. Graybill 5th, Burke in 6th, and Irvin Anderson losing out on that restart. dropping back then into 7th position overall here with Crest Autosport and the Crest Autosport IndyCar Series finale here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the conjunction of 16th Street and Georgetown Road. So, a lot to unpack so far, and a lot of incidents have been happening at Turn 3. That was the first one we saw really at Turn 1, which is the traditional place. Either Turn 1, the short shoot run between Turn 1 and Turn 2, or Turn 2 is where the most traditional accidents find themselves here at Indianapolis. 3 and 4 often difficult. That is Peter's view. Bang! And it is the sort of accident there that reminds you so much of Scott Dixon's crash in 2018, where he went up and over and into the catch fence. Very lucky there that Ollie Peters did not get air off of that accident, and that would have been a very scary crash there out there. And you'd say Inigo Mardones as well. I'd love to see a view from his perspective of that accident, because it all happened in front of him. A huge, huge moment. This is Morales, but I was very interested to see how Mardones did out there on there. So this is what Morales had to deal with. Couldn't quite get past Øyvind Andersen as he had the caution come out. But we should be able to, in the next couple of moments, see what we can in the next couple of moments. Apologies there, ladies and gentlemen. But there is your leader right now, Jeremy Pronk, just pacing behind the pace car. Logan Egan then will leave the pits. I do believe at this point in time, Mardones back in again to try and get an extra lap. Egan coming out of the pits. He is on the leading lap as well. Saviki back out now on track. He will jump to the back of the group. But this is Mardones' view of this. As he was going through, you can see Peters has no control of his car. And Mardones just chooses to go high. It's the sort of incident where you have to go low. You know that car's coming up. It's not going to move. And it was just the wrong choice for Inigo there, the Spaniard. And it has not been a happy hunting ground for the Spaniards so far today. But Germany and the Netherlands hold the majority of the laps at the front of this field. Lights off on top of the pace car. We are going back green for lap 25 out there of 100. So a quarter of the way through this one. And Jeremy Pronk does have the control, trying to warm the tyres up there, just weaving behind the pace car. Maybe a bit of boredom. He's only got Ben Bennyworth for company behind, so won't be too concerned. And that lap car, of course, of Fran Herrera, who is still trying to get back onto the leading lap here in this race. Pace car will be diving off left. We will be going back to racing here at the quarter distance of this one. Pace car is in. Jeremy Pronk will wait and wait and wait, and now he goes and immediately pulls right. And look at that serpentine goes. The green flag is back underway here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Øyvind Andersen there in the back, already losing out to Morales, who makes his way around and gets through that with comfort as he goes through. Oh, it's a big accident there. It's a huge accident for Alex Everitt, and it continues on. Saviki caught up in it. That's a massive, massive crash. And ultimately, it brings out a 5th caution. The Crest Autosport cars, this may be costing them the team's championship with these incidents. A massive crash at the rear, or the mid to rear. And it is with Øyvind Andersen. You can see Everitt desperately trying not to take a tow, but he's going to have to. So Andersen a little bit slower on that restart. And Everitt just finds himself up the circuit, and it's just a case of, I think they just get too close together. I think there's a bit of netcode in it. Andersen, I think, just about gets away with it, and then there's a secondary accident with Saviki and De Grevelia having a moment. So here's what it looks like. Oh, there's just nothing in it. And that's the sort of accident that you're faithful for the shield system here in these machines. A big, big crash. And, of course, De Grevelia having his own moment. So we'll take a little look at how his incident came through. He slowed up for it. And then he tags the back of Saviki. In the end, Nigel Stott getting a tap on behind. So this is what De Grevelia does. He sees the accident in front. He sees up into the catch fence almost goes Everitt. And he slows down. Stott gets into the back of him. Saviki just gets a tap on the rear. There's nothing that he can do about it. And a lot more drivers now struggling with damage. This is not what they were hoping for. And now in comes Jeremy Pronk, deciding now is the time that he will come in and take a stop and work on his strategy. Aaron Smith behind as well will dive in. Nigel Stock, no surprises, but any damage he has on the front wing, he has to stay there and repair. The rear wing as well might be an issue, but there is one clip missing for Nigel Stock. He's missing the front left, so his machine might be there a little while. He's already used his fast repair for this one, so Saviki might also be in a bit of trouble. His race might be over, as he had to tow. He was caught up in an incident early on, but these sometimes do happen. And already, here in the racing that we've got going on today, that is 5 cautions that we have gone through and burnt through. 4 in rapid succession here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Not what they were hoping for, but Ben Bennyworth for the Prime Motorsport team might have a chance of sneaking third with Alex Everitt a lap down and potentially a retiree from this one. Ollie Peters as well. I think his day is all but done. He'd already used his fast repair as well. Might be huge troubles for them. So Ollie Peters right now is down at the very, very bottom. And there are just currently, I believe, 10 cars on the leading lap. And that might soon be 9 if they're not careful. So an elite field developing at the front, and the front has been where it's been relatively out of trouble. Middle of the field, back of the field, that's where most of the incidents have been happening. And there have been frustrations. I know David Graybill's been on the radio like, oh, come on, I just want to race. But if you've got incidents in the back, there's not much you can do. And there have been some big incidents out there. We've seen cars in the wall. We've seen some troubles here, there, and everywhere. And 5 quick-fire cautions certainly haven't helped things in terms of bringing this race into progress. The good news, though, for Fran Herrera is he's only got 1 car to move back onto the leading lap with. And he's just got to get by Ben Bennyworth before another caution comes out. And then he'll be able to leapfrog back through and in towards the leading lap of this race. So that is going to be his prerogative as he goes forward. Stroh now up to 3rd. Lars Petter Anderson now for the Basic Racing team in 2nd. Barendregt now in 6th position. So he'll have a chance to really charge forward. Shane Burke in 5th as well. So there are a lot of drivers who could make something happen. It looks like Alfredo Morales in trouble, and his race then over as well. So I'm interested to see why Morales' race is all over and done with on top of that, which is a very interesting thing to note, because I wasn't expecting him to be a retiree here in this one. And not good in terms of the way that this has all been going. So he got away, had a moment, saw the crash behind. Logan Egan, I think his day is done as well in the pits. So that's a shame for Logan Egan, for the Egan Motorsport Sim Racing car. His day done as well here at Indianapolis. But at least right now, pace car making its way forward. Lights off. We will go green this next time by. And for Ben Bennyworth, he has the added pleasure and benefit of a lapped car behind him. Give him a little bit of a buffer in comparison to Lars Petter Anderson. Morales will be back in, trying to get himself back out and racing again. But the pace car is going to move left. And the challenge now is get yourself back up to speed again. Lap 29 at Indianapolis. Green flag. And we'll be back to racing again. Ben Bennyworth with control of the field. Anderson 2nd. Stroh in 3rd. Nicely single file up to Everitt and Anderson, or Øyvind Anderson, as they go a little bit too wide as they charge through. But a nice run as they go through the opening corners. And pretty much everyone surviving this time as they go through. Grayhill already looking to make a charge here on Timothy Stroh. And Fran Herrera down the inside of your race leader. He's now back on the leading lap with that pass. And that's crucial for the Spaniard as they go through all tyre to tyre. Grayhill just having to get out of it there with Stroh on the outside holding in. It's now going to open a chance on this front stretch for Shane Burke to go out there and attack. That was a scary, scary moment out there on circuit. That could have been any number of any issues out there as they charge forward. But it is all nice and calm at this stage. Here's Burke trying to go down the inside of Graybill. He'll get it done at 2. And now they will continue on and look to try and find those angles. It's on for 2nd and 3rd, for 4th and 5th at this moment in time. As now Graybill back to the inside, moving through at turn number 3. But again, that outside line working lovely for Shane Burke. He holds on. Stroh all over the back of Lars Petter Anderson, trying to take 2nd position, but he's not having much luck of it at this point in time. Morales getting himself back out and racing again. But crucially, Ben Bennyworth, your race leader, with the tune of 0.6 of a second, his margin to work with at this point in time. There's a long, long road yet, and I'm sure all of these drivers know it's going to be very interesting to see where they go. Keep an eye on Jeremy Pronk as well in 8th position. Certainly he's not hurting him with only 10 cars on the leading lap right now, but he wants to be in the right place at the right time and wants to try and move through the field best way he possibly can. And he knows it's been a very attritional race so far. Here comes Burke, though, with a run on Timothy Stroh. He'll go the long way around in towards 1, almost up into the wall on the outside, trying to get that pass sorted. And he monsters his way around Stroh, who's now got no speed through the chute into 2. He will hold off the margin in comparison to Grayhill, and he will be able to hold himself in play. Bennyworth using Fran Herrera effectively as a pick to go forward, but look at Burke's run go. He absolutely monsters Lars Petter Anderson as well, who had nothing on that inside of 3, just no pace. The dirty air buffeting him every which way around. And then as they go, you see cars making runs here, there and everywhere out on track, and that was a good run, sorting itself again. And oh, it gets close between Anderson, Stroh and Graybill. Oh, Graybill was nearly poking his nose where it didn't belong. Stroh on the outside, trying to work that line, and he manages it. Good pass, and Timothy Stroh now moving up into 3rd. Anderson's going to find himself on the wrong side as he searches back, hoping that there isn't going to be any drama, any trouble out there as they go through. Pronk has already made his way through the likes of Aaron Smith, for example. He's now on the back of Thijs Barendregt, hoping that he can make a pass and jump up forward. But your top 2 right now are Bennyworth and Burke, and they are trying to break clear of the field. The gap was a second. It's down to 0.8. So Stroh is motoring, taking 0.2 there on that last lap, getting himself a little bit closer. And Bennyworth taking some of those crucial lap ledge points because he still has aspirations of 3rd place overall. Everitt, remember, is only 1 lap down in 12th position at this moment in time. And what has been a difficult race so far to get correct. And as they've been working through these corners, oh, how close! Oh, Jeremy Pronk in the wall. Pronk grabbing the wall, and he's got himself okay going through. But how much damage does he have to the car? That's the question. He would have lost all momentum coming through 4. And Nigel Stock diving into the pits then, as I believe he's also grabbed the wall, but he looks like he was okay as he went forward. Pronk, who was looking so promising, now just having to react to what his car is doing. And he looks like he's okay. He's gathered it back up. Now at the front, though, that's where it's interesting here, because Burke really closing in with Bennyworth, who's trying to go around the outside of Fran Herrera here, who's trying to hold on to that lap. And Herrera has to fall back into line. So Fran there is in a really awkward position for his race. Knows he can't afford to be on the wrong side of the lap cars. Burke then's going to go to the outside. Following the draft then is going to be Herrera. He might have to make a pass into 1 here. This is so dicey at the front of this field. And nothing doing through 1, through 2. They'll all fall back into some form of line. And Fran really has to get the hurry up going, as they all do at this moment in time. Herrera moving to the inside. Burke lifting out of it then, as he closed right up underneath Ben Bennyworth. Bennyworth lets through Fran Herrera, who once again goes back on the leading lap, but now it's a group of 4 at the front in terms of the fight for the race lead. So it's certainly not the end of the world just yet, but they are starting to get a little bit more aggressive here as they go on to lap 37 out of 100. Bennyworth having to go the long way around here on Fran Herrera, who gets very wiggly on the bottom. saves himself as he goes through. 2 wide through 2. And onto the backstretch once again. This is where they're starting to bring back in Barendregt and Anderson, Lars Petter Anderson that is, into this leading battle. And it gets a little bit dicey again, as once more on that outside line, Bennyworth just trying to leave room for Fran Herrera, who has every reason to fight, mind you. This is important for his race in 10th position. He'd love a caution to come out, but he's just not getting any luck for it at the moment. And as they run through, here comes Stroh, moving to the inside at turn number 1. But he doesn't have any weight to put the power down the way he wants to. Tyres starting to slowly fall away. And he will have to really struggle it out through turn 2. And this opens up options for David Graybill. Big defences on the inside as they follow the Serpentine down low. Move back up high. Herrera effectively is controlling this field. But Graybill around the outside through 3. Oh, just touching the wall as he turns in for 4. And he gets the move done. Well done, well constructed. And that's what we love to see, a good little pass for position out there. This is starting to now be a case of Lars Petter Anderson struggling through the corners as he loses the place to Barendregt, and he might lose one to Pronk here. Moving through. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely doesn't look as quick as it was. He may have just brushed the wall somewhere, because it's bringing now Aaron Smith and Alex Everitt in, and that could get strugglesome. Aaron Smith trying to prioritise a finish right now, lifts off of it, allows Everitt to go through, and Morales almost up into the wall as well. 2 wide they go then, as it is Anderson and Everitt, who are on different laps, mind you. Everitt 1 lap down, trying to run his way up the field to get to Shane Burke, who is now your new race leader. He's made the pass, and did so around the outside of 3. So Shane Burke leads, and there is Stroh and Barendregt, who effectively are fighting for the championship, but Barendrecht's already won it by doing 1 lap in this race, and he's gone around the outside and done well. Graybill slow as well, and so Barendrecht's going to follow through, and I think Stroh's going to follow him through. Look at that, up into 3rd position now, with a pretty sizably easy pass, sorting itself out. They still look to challenge then, as they go through 4, and back onto that front stretch. And looking to really give everything they've got out there. There is Barendregt in 3rd, behind Morales and Grayhill side by side. The lap traffic in the middle, of course, in the green. And you've got there Jeremy Pronk trying to go around the outside as well. He's trying to figure out a move that gives him a chance to go out, attack, make something happen. And here on lap 41, this is the longest green flag run they've had. Their longest prior to this was 6 laps, believe it or not. And it is the Irishman Shane Burke who has the lead of this field. Pronk makes his move and gets through on David Graybill, moves himself up into 5th place. And now Stroh has a good move here. He'll try and go through. In comes Graybill then. Green flag pit stop for him on lap 42. So he's the first of the takers then from the front of the field. Deciding now's the time that he wants to come in, make his stop. And this might be the all-important time here in the race. And the caution comes out. Oh, wrong time, wrong place for Grayhill, because Stock and Anderson in the back, who are half a lap down, have come together through 4. It was a case of Nigel Stock just losing the back end through 4. And, oh, he collects Ivan Anderson. And they're both desperately trying to get the cars into the pits. And that puts Graybill out in the wrong position. Anderson and Stock's race surely done, both of whom have been involved in incidents out there. And Graybill, I think, is going to come out just on the leading lap behind the pace car. Shane Burke will have to wait. Herrera will get his lap back, and crucially will get his place, I believe, ahead of David Graybill. So that will bring us to 10 drivers on the lead lap officially. And ultimately, what a moment that turns to be. Our 6th caution of the race. We had 5 in quick succession, and surely expect everybody now to jump in the pits. And Pronk has found the wall, actually. So Jeremy Pronk, I think, got spooked by the caution as he was going through. Now, get a replay on this, potentially, because he grabbed the curb going through 1, and he's just thrown it in the wall. And so for Jeremy Pronk, that is not going to be good for him. And I think if he doesn't get himself around and off the track, he's going to be in a world of hurt. So Jeremy Pronk desperately trying to bring that car back to pits. And I think a lot of drivers found themselves with a lot of reasons to struggle out there. So in comes the top 4 in the race. Graybill will actually take the lead, so it's actually been beneficial for him in terms of this one. Likes of Aaron Smith also diving in. So drivers then are bringing themselves into the right position then. Trying to slow themselves up and get themselves into the right place. And I'm pretty sure everyone's trying to get themselves a line in that they want. Pronk has made it into the pits. And I'm pretty sure everyone is on cue and getting what they need. Of course, Pronk did have that hit. We are going to have or try to grab the incident there, but we are closing in on halfway. So this is Øyvind Andersen. That's the incident, the first one, the heavy hit that goes through. Now, the big question is where Jeremy Pronk has his crash, because he'll have it at turn 1, and this is under caution, so under pacing conditions. He finds himself in trouble. David Graybill now your leader. But this is where it goes wrong for Jeremy Pronk. So he goes through 4 okay, as they're slowing themselves down, but you're going to see it through turn 1, where the issue is. There's a little bit of debris on the circuit. But going through 1, this is where the accident's going to happen for Jeremy Pronk. You're going to see he's just going to lisk down, and this is the lack of concentration under caution for the number 52 Dutch Sim Racing Team driver. You're going to see he's going to grab the curb, grab the grass. That is what we call a rookie's error. Just not concentrating. And that is why he had to limp his way around. Now in comes Lars Petter Andersen from second. On lap 44, he's going to dive in with Inigo Mardones, try and get a lap on the rest of the field. Of course, there aren't many drivers out there anymore. And I believe Alex Everitt will get a wave around because he is ahead of Graybill and Burke out on track. Burke is, in fact, your leader. So Everitt gets back onto the leading lap, spent some time a lap down, so he's got away with one. Has Welsh Dynamite himself. And he still has a chance to win it, but he is without his fast repair. So Shane Burke leads here on lap 45. Graybill is second. Stroh is third. It is Barendregt fourth. Benny Worth is fifth. Aaron Smith in sixth position. And Fran Herrera is there in seventh. And Everitt not happy with Øyvind Andersen here. So Andersen on the back has damage, and he can't go because he's limping around the track, and it's really frustrating Alfredo and Alex here because they want to get up to the back of the pack as quickly as they can. That train is going through in towards turn 3 right now, and Andersen looks like he's had another moment out on track this lap because it didn't quite manage it through. Andersen then will dive into the pits. Morales and Everitt then will continue on. And now as they drive through for your leaders, they will be half a lap back, those two. I will be hoping for a run. Pace car is diving into the pit. So we're about to go back green. 7th time here today. Shane Burke with control. On a very reduced field here on lap 45. The green flag is back in the air. And we're back racing here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Burke with a great launch compared to Graybill and Stroh in third. Barendregt currently in 4th position. And a nice start here to this race. In terms of Morales and Everitt, they absolutely monstered forward. They've only lost themselves about a third to half a lap compared to the back of the field. Here comes Graybill looking for the race lead. And he will come down the inside, make the pass on the Irishman, and move up forward into the right place, the right time, the right moment. And he has certainly done what he needs to do. It is very clear out there on track that it's not working for Øyvind Andersen. His car absolutely toast. And every time he comes back out, there is clear damage to it. And as he tries to pace at the bottom, we'll keep an eye out on it. But top 3 looking good, at least at this moment in time. And now pushing forward in towards turn 3. Again, Graybill is trying something out there. You got Aaron Smith back there in 6th place. He's certainly hoping for a good run. And he gets a really nice run actually off of the exit here. He'll attack Ben Bennyworth for that 5th place. Now, can he find the magic? No, he sits back into line, doesn't want to risk his race outright already. And at least at this point, you can say that this is a tough race. It's a tough battle to get what you want from it. And a lot of drivers are in a hope mode at this point in time, hoping that they're in the right position at the right time. They move around then through 3 and 4 once again. Graybill leading, Burke in 2nd, Stroh in 4th. A lot of work for Barendregt in 4th, sorry, to really bring the group back down. And this is going to be a tough second half of the race. Not many drivers able to keep themselves going here from a starting number of 18. But what they do know is that in the second half of this race, it will get easier. Less cars, less likely to have a caution. And again, Burke running through there just behind in 2nd, behind David Graybill, who leads this race outright. You've got Stroh in 3rd. You've got Barendregt 4th, Bennyworth 5th, Smith in 6th, Fran Herrera up into 7th position. This is the anyone who is anyone could win this race. And they will all be hoping that they do out there overall. So a little bit of a push then as they go forward, trying to get what they can out of it. Alfredo Morales 5 laps down at the moment. The only lap down car who is out there racing at the moment. But you can see here just those little looks through the corners. Graybill's just doing just enough at the front. Burke there just waiting, being patient. Stroh is there in 3rd. Barendregt 4th. Bennyworth in P5 is having a good enough race at this moment in time that he doesn't have to be too concerned about where he is at the moment. You can see where everyone's pitted. Everyone just about on the same strategy except Alex Everitt, who will have to come back in and make a stop because he last pitted on lap 25, which means he's very close to his fuel number. Should be there in the next 5 to 8 laps, needing to come down in and make a stop, which will put him once again 1 lap down in terms of this field. Now here comes Barendregt with a little search, a little peer out to see how the train looks. Not necessarily a position to make a move, so has to wait once again. Going to 3 and 4, and he does understeer a lot out there in 4. Gives himself the room though. It'll take him another lap to, or maybe even half a lap to go out there to be aggressive to find that pass. But the patience is there with David Graybill in the 47 machine, leading this race, just calmly taking these laps, ticking them off one at a time. It's the sort of way you have to do it. Drivers will be looking to try and 2-stop from now to the end, if they can. And look at how they claw up behind. Graybill is not in the best position for fuel saving. That much we do know. And I think drivers will be looking at this tactically from this point. We don't want to be on the front, doing the work, doing the donkey's work. We want to be in a position where we can go out, we can race, we can be happy, we can try and get what we want. You can see that all the way to what is Jeremy Pronk in 8th place. They've got a chance. Front 6 nicely in the line. But again, it's Thijs Barendregt, the champion. 2-time champion now, we can definitely say it. He's definitely looking to try in his stuffy state, try and get his way up towards the front. And he will make the move on Timothy Stroh, who lets him have it into 3. And Barendregt moving at a rate of knots and trying to do everything in his power to get a victory to crown the season off. He's got, though, the two newcomers just in front of him, and here comes Ben Bennyworth with a little look. He's not going to get the move done on Stroh. Behind that, Lars Petter Andersen makes a move on Inigo Mardones. They're racing 9th and 10th at the moment in their own little race, and looks like Morales is trying to get Everitt back up to that group as well. Here comes Barendregt, though, looking for second on Shane Burke. Burke has been, I think, outside of the top two only once in this race. Make that second time, because there goes the move. Thijs Barendregt is motoring through, and he wants position out there at this moment in time, and he's doing just enough for it to get what he needs from it. He'll look now for the race lead, and David Graybill will say, thank you very much. I will let you have some time at the front. I need to save some fuel. Oh, and there is a little bit of hope in the background that there is going to be some chances there. You can see Jeremy Pronk is almost, if not has, lost the back. It was Fran Herrera, actually, losing the place in towards one. So Herrera's lost a spot, now back into 8th place. And they're at risk of losing the train. If you lose the train around here, it's a long, long day at the office. It's so vital to give it back. Graybill now back in the lead as he makes the pass back through on Thijs Barendregt. Lap 56 of 100 they now find themselves on. And rushing forward in towards turn number 2 once again. And they're trying to build that gap to Shane Burke in third. And not quite managing it just yet. Side by side again on the backstretch in towards turn 3. And can get it done. So Barendregt now to the point with David Graybill. Just being patient with his runs, trying to get it sorted on the run into one. He'll have to go to the outside to make this one happen. It was covered all the way by Barendregt. And, oh, how close do you want it? Graybill up to the lead. Barendregt just losing out that spot. And then Shane Burke's there. Now, Barendrecht's in a tough position because he hasn't raced these two before very often. And all of that two-widing has brought the train at the rear back together again. So they've caught back on, they've latched back on. And that is just giving them a few more things here and there to be a little bit concerned about. Everitt then will have to come in this lap. Aaron Smith's going to have a look, as is Barendregt for the race lead once again. In towards one. And Barendrecht's going to let his intentions be known. Comes up, tries to snipe the air away from him as they go through. So Alex Everitt having to make a green flag stop then on lap 57. It's not good enough for him to go to the end of the race from there. Still too wide for the lead. And it brings in the likes of Thijs Barendregt, trying to push himself into position. And he still can't get there, but there is that patience of fuel saving, that game going on just behind. The likes of Aaron Smith, for example, has been fantastic so far at playing that game, and he's trying to get by Bennyworth. That battle's still on for the race lead as they'll go into one, and it is once again a move done by Barendregt that holds him in that race lead. Bennyworth now looking to attack Timothy Stroh here, who lost about half a second to the group in front, giving himself some range to go out there and attack. And that should be an interesting dilemma at this point in time. They're running about 41 second lap times here at this point. For context, Barendrecht's best time was a 40.5, so only half a second off, so they haven't really hit too much of a depreciation on the tyres so much, but they are chopping and changing those places. And again, after the pass into 3, Barendregt will come to the yard of bricks. He'll lead it over the bricks there at that point, and he'll try and make that run into one. And again, making that move, working together, a bit of cooperation to try and break away from the group behind. And the focus, of course, on trying to shake people off the back, like Fran Herrera, for example, who's got 0.6 of a second's worth of gap. Try and chase down to Jeremy Pronk. There goes Graybill again down the inside of 3. And this will again be a case of, I will get the run through 4. I will trade that off, get the run I want, and try and attack on the front stretch. Once again, it sorts itself out nicely. You can see in the background, there's Alex Everitt, and that might be key for him. He's a lap down. He's just got through on Anderson and Mardones, and he's on fresh tyres trying to chase down a 6-second margin. Too wide for the lead, and this time Graybill holding off. It allows Barendregt, though, to the inside as they run towards 3. Haven't been any overtakes in that group just behind. They've just been sitting pretty, letting the top 2 switch and work together out there at the front. Nothing dramatic. A little bit of gap being left as well by Stroh. And you'd say a veteran move in case there's an incident between the top drivers. And suddenly Bennyworth loses out on the straight. Through goes Aaron Smith looking to the outside. He can't get there. Graybill still holds the lead on lap 62. And now you have to be a little bit concerned. It looks like Morales then has just jumped out of the pit. So he's made his stop. He'll be back going again. Irving Anderson back out as well. And look at these fights going on right now. Smith versus Bennyworth. Bennyworth with a big cut underneath. Can't get there. Still too wide for the race lead, though. And again, Thijs Barendregt is searching for the angle. And it's not been easy. And again, to that inside, he takes it. The race lead. And they are trading right before they reach that all-important stage. 42 of Lars Petter Anderson definitely likes where Alex Everitt is right now. He's trying to use him as a way to get back up to that leading group. Would definitely be a huge boon in terms of this race. And again, Graybill too wide with Barendregt, and moves through again into that race lead. Behind now, trying the high line is Ben Bennyworth, and it's going to work on Aaron Smith. So Smith now drops back into 6th position with that move once again. And Jeremy Pronk now will claw his way back on. Some nice spacing with those gaps, and through again goes Barendregt, working with David Graybill, trying to get themselves going. In terms of when they last pit, they are really nearing that element, that edge. We're on lap 64. Lap 70, you feel, is one of those magic numbers. If you can get to 30 laps, 28, normally if they're going full bore, will be what they're trying to work with and work around at this point. Those who are a little bit further back have a good option, and Pronk just grabs the wall out of 3 again. We'll have to be careful about that. He's just playing with fire every time he goes through, and he gets close and he taps the outside wall. So that is concerning. You've got Ben Bennyworth there trying to fight, but again, Barendregt to the inside. Every time they're over the line, 2,000ths, 3,000ths, 2,000ths, 4,000ths. It's so tight, the margins between them. And again, David Graybill, the American in the number 47 machine from the Plains, looking to try and make that pass, and moves through once more into the race lead. So the swapping, oh, Pronk's in the wall. Jeremy Pronk is in the wall, and he's somehow got a turn of pace to keep it out of trouble, and he goes through. The wheel has flown off, but we stay green because he's able to get it down low and away from trouble. It looked for all the world like it was going to be a caution. It isn't, and Pronk is in the pit. Now look at this. Barendregt trying to break away with all of that, because Irving Anderson was there on the bottom trying to let the entire train go through. Would have scared Fran Herrera a lot. He's lost contact here. But we stay green on lap 66 here in this race. A little blink from Graybill wouldn't have been helpful for him behind. So there's still a lot to deal with. Graybill going to the outside here, trying to find the motion that gives him the move, but he still can't quite get there. Again, he will try going through 2, and again, it will have to be the back stretch. 0.6 of a second the gap to Shane Burke in 3rd. A further 0.7 of a second to Ben Bennyworth, who's now through on Timothy Stroh, who may just be in the fuel save game at this point, trying to give as much as he can in the stops. Bennyworth getting a little close to the wall now as well. Everyone is just dicing it about then out on track, and Morales in a bit of trouble now as well, as he was going through trying to lap. He grabbed the wall and kept it on the inside, so he's good. We'll stay green with that one as well, but he will try and navigate his way forward. It is Graybill in the lead still, though. And they are just holding their stations. Pronk back out and away again after the damage sustained. But, and this is a big one, these top three looking good. Stroh trying to get aggressive once again in 4th position. He's got eyes on Ben Bennyworth and that pass. He's not quite in a position just yet to make that happen. But what he does know is that we are so close to those magic numbers, and when is the right time to make a stop, try and undercut your opponents in 42-degree track temperature conditions. It has been a difficult one here today. You do have to wonder, with those top two constantly changing places, Graybill and Barendregt, what can you do if you're the chasing pack? Shane Burke has been there, trying to just push the needle a little bit, find an overtake, and in comes Aaron Smith. First of your green flag stoppers then. Aaron Smith trying to find the magic at the right place at the right time to get himself exactly what he needs, which is a big undercut from where he was. He needs about 2 seconds to jump in front of the leaders. Burke's still working though. Barendregt and Graybill. It's now started to turn into a fight for 2nd position out there in the front of the field. It's been nice and calm over the course of what we've got going forward. But leaving the pits now will be Aaron Smith, and he'll be right in front of the leaders, so that'll be a little carrot on the stick to work with. Something we often see. A little look to the outside from Shane Burke. No line there. It was covered. And ultimately, Barendregt will just have to hold that 2nd place and not lose contact. That's the crucial point. Every driver is trying to hold on to the car in front. And it is a tough, tough battle to hold on to the right car in front. Graybill, though, absolutely being clawed back. As we are there on lap 71. Graybill, brushing the wall through 3. Can't do that too many times. And he will dive into the pits after that little tap. So he relinquishes from the lead. We're not expecting too much, but he does slow down for the mark. 96 Ks is the speed as they go through. And now all of a sudden it becomes Barendregt versus Burke at the front of the field. Morales back out and away again. But at least right now, it's about where you turn up in comparison. This will be the key, where Aaron Smith is in comparison to the American David Graybill, who is still in his box waiting. Now he gets his call to go. And Aaron Smith here is running right up the front stretch. Of course, you can see it here on the map. He's got to go through 1. He's got to get up to speed through 2 as well. He has none of the banking to work. You have to merge either through 1 or through 2. And he will merge through 2. And Aaron Smith here, desperately trying to chase this down. And he needs a little bit of help to get there, and he's just going to be out of range. So, no dice there. Mardones is in the pit. So too Lars Petter Anderson, and Morales in trouble again. Wheel off the car. And he was just trying to bring... Oh, big issue. Big issue. It's Thijs Barendregt in trouble. And it brings out the caution on lap 73. Oh, my. Oh my! Barendregt in trouble in the wall. Suffering a little bit there, and that will bring us into everyone comes in. It's a big, big issue out there. And that was not part of the plan. Pace car is there. I think Inigo Mardones will get away with it. But what a moment that is, and it will bring everyone back together. That was a great run. Almost everyone coming in for green flags. But that, not ideal. Barendregt on 3 wheels is going to make it to the pits. Oh, that's disastrous. That is absolutely disastrous out there. And you just hate to see those sorts of incidents, and that is why the fast repair's there. The one mistake used. And what about David Graybill? Again, having to make that stop. He is on the lead lap. And he will be there with Aaron Smith as well. So that will effectively, with these stops, put Graybill back in the lead. And it will put Aaron Smith up to second here. Lars Petter Anderson will be third. And Madonna's in fourth. But it looks like Aaron Smith's going for tyres. And maybe a little splash and dash to get there. Everyone else jumping in. Everitt will get his lap back. Pronk will gain a lap back. He will be then classified as 1 lap down. And vitally in this one, Graybill again pitting before the caution, going in there. And Barendregt, look at him. He's trying so hard to get back into line. Still trying. Gets there. Still doesn't. Where's his box? That's the question now. Finally gets his service. That was awkward with 3 wheels on his wagon. He'll now get himself back out and away again, but he'll be at the very, very back of the field. So Shane Burke will be the first out, then Bennyworth, then Stroh, then Herrera, and then Smith. I do question Aaron Smith's decision to pit in from what would have been second position had he had not come in. But maybe his fuel numbers by pitting so early weren't quite there and he needed a splash and dash. But Aaron Smith in the 70 knows it is not the end of racing just yet. He still has a ways to go with it. David Graybill, your leader. Lars Petter Anderson in second. You can see when they've pitted, they've got a 3 and a 2 lap difference compared to the rest of the field. Inigo Madonna's a 2 lap difference. He's on the lead lap now in 9th position. And Alex Everitt will get that wave around to be back on the lead lap. And what a determined drive it has been for him to get back there. No matter what result he gets from it, he knows he's got to start making moves and make moves quickly. He is so determined. This has been a dogged performance to get himself back in. And inside now towards the final 25 laps of this race. He's going to need a bit of help to get himself back near the front. But it's the sort of race where Graybill's been a little bit lucky, some would say. Anderson's done well. But Shane Burke's proven he's got a lot of pace in these races. Stroh's been quite quiet since he's relinquished the race lead in the early stages. And the Scourer's car has certainly done well. There's the T&D Racing car. And this really, for Timothy Stroh, also has Teams Championship implications. Remember, he lost Dave Steadman halfway through the season after Laguna Seca. Has been having to do the bulk of the Teams Championship lifting on his own. Hasn't had a perfect season by any standards, but has certainly shown he's got pace, and he will want to get back up there. Because that Team's Championship, it will fall back into line if Everitt can't get any result from it and finds another accident that puts him back down to potentially 11th or 12th position, depending on Irvin Anderson, who's still out there 13 laps adrift at this point in time. So, there is David Graybill shadowing that pace car. Lights are off, so he takes the lead. So Everitt and Pronk now will race their way around and try and get themselves into play. Everitt coasting here a little bit at this point, trying to save as much as he can, as he is just behind the group now, getting himself ready to charge back through. So we'll go back, and they will have 24 laps of racing. They'll start on lap 77 out of 100. Graybill, your leader. The green flag up in the air. Pace car will dive down in. And let's get ourselves back going again. It's showdown time here at Indy. Good launch in comparison to Lars Petter Anderson, the Norwegian. And then Shane Burke, the Irishman, just behind. Ben Bennyworth makes it 4 nationalities in 4. It's 5 in 5 if you count Stroh. 6 in 6 with Fran Herrera. And as they charge forward, here comes Shane Burke to the inside. Won't have the draft to help. Anderson trying everything he can. But Shane Burke on that low line comes back up the track and sorts it out wonderfully. A nicely held position there. And he moves up to second to challenge David Graybill overall for the victory. Bennyworth also looking a little bit in trouble here, because here comes Stroh thinking about it into one. Stays low, but didn't have the overlap. Bennyworth leaving the space, but doing just enough at this moment. Keep an eye on Everitt. He's there with Thijs Barendregt as well. They're trying to chase back up through the field. Here comes Stroh with a move, and soon looks for the race lead as well. Shane Burke happy to sit there, knowing that fuel will be marginal for Graybill on 26 laps. So he'll want to try and push him in the lead as much as possible. No move for Stroh. Going through into 3. And out of 4, he starts to struggle a little bit. Bennyworth really aggressive through there. Those two starting to just drop a bit of contact to the top 3. And Anderson again struggling with the car composition. Going through 1 and 2. It brings back into position Ben Bennyworth. And that just shows you how the dirty air plays here. And now we're starting to see moves up and down. Thijs Barendrecht's got a run on Aaron Smith. He'll be trying to make a chance for a pass, but he's got no angle for it. This is such a dangerous game they're playing. It's some of the fastest speeds, 360 Ks into turn 4. They are absolutely flying around this place. And by comparison, the top 2, Graybill and Burke, making their first Crest Autosport starts. The charging out there again. And it's all about setting up the right angle. Close to the wall goes Bennyworth, and just the draft, it's so strong here. It's very difficult when you're in the train. Get alongside and make the move. Stroh again ducks low. But again, it's the pull that comes in from Lars Petter Andersen that covers everything off. This time through 4 potentially. Try and get it done, and they will remain too wide behind. Aaron Smith in trouble, has to dive into the pits because he grabs the wall out of 3, but ultimately didn't scrub off enough speed for a caution to come out. He immediately ducked down onto the apron, and the racing continues out there. Graybill still in control of things. Burke in second, Lars Petter Andersen. A bridge between the divides in third. Fran Herrera having to defend a little bit from one. Mr. Thijs Barendregt almost into the back. You've still got those concerns in for third place. Everyone's still moving. 8 cars, 9 cars at the front. Mardones being dropped off the back. He's outside of a second now. Aaron Smith's race is over. He retires the car. So that will be useful for those behind. But still it's a chase in what has been a heavily struggling race. Barendregt flies around the outside of Fran Herrera in the back there. Moves up another place, and Everitt's going to follow him here. To the inside at 3. Got it sorted. Herrera, oh, really had to get out of it there. He was right up there on the banking. That could have been Struggle Street so easily. Stroh now with a great run here. Wanting to move up to 4th and not quite finding it. It is 17 more revolutions of the circuit soon. We're on lap 83, so 18 laps to go. And it still hangs with the front 2 at this stage. David Graybill and Shane Burke. The 47 and 66, both making their starts, both started 2nd and 4th, and made great progress up the field. But it stays again in what is a difficult race. Bennyworth again choosing that high line. He does love it. In 4th position. Lars Petter Andersen currently in 3rd. Just holding a gap. And then behind, here comes Alex Everitt on Thijs Barendregt to tail as old as time. Barendregt holds the outside line though, and he holds the position nicely. And now you start to wonder how they go through every time out of 4, or out of 2 even. You worry about Bennyworth and how much he pushes. Stroh now in trouble. 3 wide, they'll go on the backstretch. Now they're starting to race. The 3 who are fighting for the championship are on together on the road. Everitt still trying to fight with Barendregt, who lost out in that one. But Barendregt around the outside of 4. He's going to make that move and move himself forward fantastically. Now Lars Petter Andersen starts to close up that gap with 16 laps to go at Indy. They know a caution inside of the final 4 laps of this race will end it. They know how important it's been. 9 drivers only from a field of 18 on the leading lap. Here comes Barendregt again looking, but he's going to have to drop back into line. But there is Lars Petter Andersen third. There is Barendregt in 6th. He's trying to figure out the right thing, the right move on Timothy Stroh. But he's just not got anything to work with. Stroh's got a monster run here. He might actually attack Ben Bennyworth here into 1. And here comes Stroh with the run. It was a monster rush out of 4. And through 1. Oh, it's going to get dicey. And again on that outside, Bennyworth loves to work that line. They are going to drop time if they keep fighting like this. And ultimately the move can't be scored as complete. Graybill being hung out to dry at the front by Shane Burke. He knows when the right time to strike is. He wants the car in front to hold those laps in front. He doesn't want to attack until the time is right. Fran Herrera back there in 8th. Everitt 7th. Barendregt in 6th. Any one of these drivers still could win this race. And Stroh again goes for a look on the low side. But again, that high line works nicely for Ben Bennyworth. The ultimate driver who can move through the field. Started 13th up to 4th. And that's a good run by Stroh. Gets right up behind. Hits the wall of air though. And again has to tuck back. Everitt having a look behind him now. Trying to find a way past Barendregt. He covers the outside. And that outside really has found some purchase from those 2 drivers. And it is showing. Again, Stroh tries something. Again, he wants an angle. And again, he will not get the run he wants. And he'll understeer a bit with 13 laps. The Baker's dozen to go. And now Barendrecht's going to get a great run here on Stroh, who really struggled. Here he comes. And Everitt's trying to follow as well. And this time Barendrecht's going to get a place. Sometimes you can be too aggressive here. And it can cost you. And it shows with the front 4. Now trying to go. Everitt can't go any further. He still needs to box. And that'll be his hope for a race win over. But with 12 to go, it is still David Graybill out in front. It is still Shane Burke in 2nd. And they have been almost connected by a tow bar by 1/10 of a second every time we've seen them. It has been such a patient final run. And it might just have to be. Anderson in 3rd is there. Bennyworth's 4th. Barendregt with a really good run on the low side. He's going to try and get a run here through 4. On Ben Bennyworth. Pick up that drive. But again, Bennyworth's got the tow. And Barendregt doesn't, so he'll have to remain in 5th place. And that's what gets frustrating here. That gap 0.6 of a second between 3rd and 4th. Don't count Lars Petter Andersen out of this in 3rd place. He does have a chance. But the top 2 have looked really good here. Graybill and Burke. It's a long race. And they are now nearing its conclusion. It is 10 laps to go at the line. What point does Shane Burke decide he wants to take some laps in front? Last thing he wants is Lars Petter Andersen closing up behind him, thinking about making some moves. They've been very nicely working together in this race, and it is that patience game that's there. Barendregt again will try a move here on Ben Bennyworth for 4th position. Bennyworth, remember, was trying to find a way to 3rd, and I don't think he's going to see it this time, this season. And Barendregt really low through 2. That is so brave. That is so brave. And Lars Petter Andersen pulls out to try and give him a little bit of something to confirm the move. Some clever team tactics there, and Thijs Barendregt moves up into 4th position with that pass. How clever was that from Lars Petter Andersen? The basic racing team cars working together as they will now have 9 laps left. Stroh out gets a run, and he's been stuck trying to pass Ben Bennyworth, who has been as a sticky wicket can get. Can't get through again, can the German. This has been mightily frustrating in terms of how you can pull this run together. Shane Burke now. Still there. Still holding a line. As they go through 3, they are really trying to find everything. Absolutely everything and then some. 8 laps to go. At what point do you move? At what point do you play that game and say, I want to be the aggressor? There is backup for Lars Petter Anderson if he wants to attack Burke and Grayhill. Anderson, who was only here for the Road Course Cup races, joined in at Chicagoland and for the final round here at Indianapolis. The 2 cars in front, Burke and Grayhill, joining for this final round. Graybill has really done well. Coming in when he needs to. Bennyworth now, side by side. Rushing forward. Still can't get by Timothy Stroh. And they are costing each other 0.8 of a second now. Top 4 are away. And now you start to feel it's one of these 4. In the final 6 laps when they cross the line for lap 95 of 100. And Burke's starting to look to the outside now, starting to experiment with different lines, starting to wonder when is the right time to go for it. He needs to find the right time. It might be on the back stretch on the last lap. That might be the ultimate place. But for these 4, they have been the warriors of this race, doing what they need. Jeremy Pronk just coming out of the pits. Graybill immediately on the radio. Please stay low. Please stay low is the call. But he is up to speed. And they run through 3. And oh, he's gone! Oh, he's gone. It's a caution. A late caution. Oh, it's a disaster. Pronk, who just come out of the pits. Oh. That was not ideal. Shane Burke not happy over the radio. But Graybill, oh. He knew that he needed that. It ticks some laps off the box. But I think it's either going to be we go to the end or it is one more lap. It is hanging in the balance here. The time on the clock, we have 15 minutes. So we won't be worried about time. But we start pacing. And David Graybill here has been in the right place at the right time for the longest time. Anderson 3rd. Barendregt 4th. Bennyworth 5th. Might be worth cars at the back making a stop for tyres. Give themselves a chance on the last lap. It depends on who goes and who doesn't. But it was so close to lap 96. The incident happening on lap 95, which means we will get a shootout between these drivers. A caution coming out with 6 laps to go. And who dare blink? Fran Herrera will be the only driver to blink. You will bring Inigo Mardones. The 2 Spaniards will gamble on tyres to get themselves to the end and make enough of an inroad. But here's the difference maker, and it's in terms of laps. For Graybill, he was doing very consistently over a stretch of laps between lap 80 and lap 94 without fail of 40.9. Without fail. That tells you all you need to know. Tyres are not the issue here today. Maybe fresh tyres might do a little something, but it all depends on the restart here. It all depends on Graybill, Burke, Anderson and Barendregt. On what has been a very, very good season of IndyCar racing here with the Crest Autosport IndyCar Series. Just a reminder here in these final stages of this race that there is the WTCC coming up, of course, that Race Room Series, which has absolutely everything. 6 rounds coming up, starting on the 5th of May at Portimao. Goes Sepang, Brands Hatch, Anderstorp, Assen, and then that Spa 50 Endurance, which is a staple of the Crest Autosport family out there on the 6th of June. So, that's going to be a very good case of this going forward. Championship is decided, and now it's going to be a case of everyone now trying to do what they need to do. So David Graybill is all about to lead this pack. He knows what he's got to do. Just hold off Shane Burke, hold off Lars Petter Andersen, hold off Thijs Barendregt, and do so in a clean fashion. It's going to come down to who wants it more here at Indianapolis. And this 100, they know what they're racing for. They're racing for a plaque brought by Uncle Luke's Sign and Sticker Shop. And on top of that, by Apex Tracks, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway up on their wall. There is Shane Burke, the Irishman, for Simtech. He knows what he's got to do. Just find one pass. There is the pace car just in front, and here on lap 98 of the race, the lights are off. It is a green-white checker at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And what a time, what a place, what a race. It was heavily caution-filled early on. A lot of drivers getting caught in accidents. But when the field started to spread down, thin out, that's when we got the big green flag runs. That's when we saw the opportunities from drivers. And Graybill has played the strategy game perfectly, pitting just before the cautions. Some would say good fortune. Shane Burke has been in the front too the majority of this race, and on pure pace deserves to be up there fighting for the win. Andersen in third had to really fight to get back up to the front. Barendregt is dealing with a Michael Jordan flu game at this moment in time. Hold your breath. This might be the longest Indianapolis 5 you will ever have. Pace car will be due to dive in. There's Barney the flagman, getting the green flag out and ready. Pace car in. It's under David Graybill's jurisdiction now. And he goes. Green flag back in the air. We're underway. 2 laps to go at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It was a good start from those in basic racing team colours. In third, in fourth. Everitt trying to make a move on Stroh back there in sixth. A caution on this final, this penultimate lap ends the race outright. And oh, Barendregt down the inside, didn't work. Here comes the look for the race lead. Defending goes Graybill. Hard to the inside goes Shane Burke. Oh, he sold him beautifully. Down the inside, he takes the lead with 6 corners to go. And now you start to wonder, has he shown his hand too early? Graybill's got a chance. They're fighting hard. Look at the run from Alex Everitt. He's up to 5th. He's going to be up to 4th. The white flag lap comes along. Pretty much it's here from the end of the race. How can you get it? Top 3 looking good. There's contact in the back. Stroh got a tap from Fran Herrera. Now here comes the chance. Here comes Graybill to the outside. He's trying to manufacture the move, and he's got the run he needs. But they've still got that charge through. Burke trying to pinch him as they go towards turn 3. He's got the inside line as he goes through. Lars Petter Andersen watches on with popcorn. Has he got a chance? Big switch up under. He's not going to get there. Graybill admits defeat. Shane Burke. Oh, what a move that was. The Irishman had the luck today. He wins at Indy, and he wins it fantastically. Oh, wow. Mardonis in trouble at the end of the race. He's going to limp over the line. He found the wall through 3. It looks like there was troubles as well for Fran Herrera. So both Spaniards in all sorts of trouble. But my goodness, what a race. And look at that. 3 wheels on your wagon over the line. It is going to be Mardonis ahead of Herrera there. What a magical, magical race. And what a finish there. That was all about timing. That was a big move down to the bottom. And let's have a look at the official classified results here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Shane Burke started second on the grid, and an hour, 36 minutes and 45 seconds. It was a long one today, caution filled, but Burke gets the victory for SimTech Motorsport. He finishes ahead of David Graybill, who had nothing to fight with at the end. He tried every trick in the book, but just couldn't get there. And Lars Petter Andersen, as the Doies come in, Lars Petter Andersen will take third for the basic racing team. Great late resurgence, though, for Alex Everitt to get up to fourth place. He was a lap down at points in that one, with Thijs Barendregt in fifth and sixth position going to Ben Bennyworth. Timothy Stroh is seventh, and his title challenge ends eighth place, belonging to Inigo Mardones, and Fran Herrera, the last finisher, in ninth on the leading lap. 13 laps down, but finishing was Øyvind Andersen in the 69 car, and then it was all retirees from there. Jeremy Pronk bringing out that late last caution. Aaron Smith hitting the wall. He was right up there with a chance of victory today. Alfredo Morales out 39 laps down. Nigel Stock, Stephen de Grevelier, Logan Egan. Dominic Saviki says he'll be back next season. And Ollie Peters rounding out the 18 cars that were here today from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But we are going to now get a chance to talk to some of the drivers. We're going to bring in Shane Burke first and foremost here, your winner here from Indianapolis. Shane, look, like every time you're out there on track, you were in P2, you were waiting for the right time, waiting for the right chance, and it just goes to prove with 6 corners to go, you made the right move, you made a magic move to get the victory done.
Yeah, it was such a tough race. There was so many cautions at the start that it was hard to find the flow. And I think about 45 laps to go, everyone really upped the pace. They went from quite a slow pace to, I guess people feel safe and like myself, to suddenly everyone really went for it. And I was like, oh, we're going early. It's just trying to find yourself in the right spot. I found being in third place wasn't great for me. So I knew it was crucial to be second place. And I didn't know if I was going to be tight on fuel at the end, so I knew if I battled too early, we'd be caught. So I sat behind, and yeah, it paid out now. That accident at the end was nearly it, to be honest. We made the plan, I was going to go for it, and then literally the caution came out, so nearly the plan ruined.
Nearly the plan ruined, but the plans had to change on the fly. So talk about that run just before that final caution, because I thought that was crucial in terms of how your race was going. You sat up behind Graybill, you waited for that chance, you were just counting down laps. How important is it just to effectively get the blinkers on, just focus on the car in front and just pray for no mistakes from the field and effectively try and be adaptable on the fly?
Yeah, to be honest, I have to say thanks to David for just doing his job of just leading, not defending, not giving me dirty lines. It allowed us to just stay first and second without being really caught. Someone behind me that kept catching a little bit back and forth. It was kind of like, I think it was Lars. He was nearly there a few times. So I knew if we made a mistake or if I went a lap too early, it was going to be a 3 or 4 car battle, because we had the number 1 really catching, and I know for a fact he's probably not extremely happy with me early on, giving him dirty air, which put him in the wall. But yeah, I just really have to say thanks to David for battling me hard and fair. Like, we went really close at the end. Like, I'm pretty sure we rubbed wheels going down that back straight. So yeah, thanks David a lot.
Well, you do pick up the victory here at the Indianapolis 100, which means that not only do you get yourself a little plaque by Uncle Luke's Sign and Sticker Shop, but also you get the ultimate prize provided by Apex Tracks, which is a sculpture of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Now, do you have a specific place on your wall that you have in mind for it?
So I guess behind the sim rig would be nice looking at it. I've had good success here at Indy with a few 500 wins and never really got anything for it, so it's nice to finally win something for it.
It's nice to win, and you've got yourself there. Before we let you go, Shane, shout out sponsors. Who gets it done for you, buddy?
Oh God, I want to thank my guys first. Alexander for just doing fuel numbers, Paul for the great advice, James for not doing anything. The sim racing grid, or sim racing cockpit, I'll be shot for saying that. They've supported us a lot. We're doing endurance karting this year, and they're supporting us there, and I'm so thankful. TFR Labs for the data, Polaroids, just thanks everyone.
No worries at all. Shane Burke, a wonderful victory for him with the SimTech team. Exactly what was wanted. We're going to bring in Alex Everitt next here from Crest Autosport with Apex Tracks. Now, Alex, that was a very, very tough race early on. You got yourself caught up in an incident there and effectively dropped the lap, having to take the fast repair. Just how difficult was it to start? We heard Shane talking about how tough it was to set a rhythm, but it just seemed like for a period of about 20 laps there at the beginning, it was a case of caution upon caution.
It was very difficult at the beginning with the cautions, and it's just standard procedure at Indy. You just have to just compose yourself for the first half of the race, and then the second half is where you've got to start establishing your position. And that's where I decided to come alive in the last part of that race, and it was getting to a point where I was just thinking, you know what, I'm going to finish about half a lap behind here, but luck struck again. But at the same time, I needed another lap.
You needed another lap. You are absolutely motoring in those final couple laps. That decision, fresh tyres, you had enough fuel, effectively put it fuel mix one, go out there, burn everything you've got there, and it just looked like you were just trying to throw everything you got at the final part of that because there was nothing to lose.
Yeah, that's it. I threw the kitchen sink at it. As soon as the caution came out, I got my Mr. Potato Head angry eyes out. So yeah, 2-lap shootout. I was helped a little bit with Thijs and Ben running wide, but it was real good fun those final few laps. It's just a shame that of a 100-lap race, I was only really in the thick of that race for 2 of them. So it's a little bit of a shame just seeing that move on Tim Stroh at turn 1 there. That was pretty good. But brilliant race. Really enjoyed when it was going well.
And how important is next season going to be? Of course, we don't have dates right now for it, but that will be coming up soon. How important has Crest Autosport been in terms of delivering another great championship, especially with the field numbers that we've had, a bit of a slight increase on last season, and moving towards next season? What are you crucially looking at, and especially with Raceroom starting back up again, how crucial is that going to be for you in terms of bringing in what effectively is the core of the roadside, which has brought the Crest Autosport name into play?
It's been a bit of an up and down period for Crest Autosport, to be honest. There was a point last year where we were considering closing up shop, if I'm honest. But the team pulled together and we brought it through. The Rally League is doing really well now. We decided to take a strategic break with Raceroom, and now it's back, and it's nearly a full grid already, and we've only had entries open for a couple of days. And this iRacing League, ever since I first got into IndyCar, I think it was around about 2003 or something like that, I wanted to be involved in a league, or I wanted to host one on whatever platform. And the time came about 6 to 9 months ago or so. And it's come on leaps and bounds from there. It's not quite where I want it yet, I'm going to admit that. And I did say to you, we're going after Lionheart and all of them leaders when it comes to IndyCar race. But I said to you at the Indy 100 last season, we want to be the leading IndyCar oval racing league. And now we're sort of spurting out into road racing as well. It's a bit of a hybrid now, but it's real exciting with all the drivers we've got on board. And we're going to take this forward into a 4th season, which should start in about 2 months' time.
Well, I'll definitely be looking forward to that. I'm sure all of you at home will be as well. Before we let you go here, though, Alex, shout out sponsors. Who gets it done? It was a big season, and you may have just done enough with that final push to confirm the team's championship for Crest Autosport with Apex Tracks.
There we go. First shout out goes out to Ollie, because he's he's one of the best teammates I've ever had. He's brilliant. Me and him work well together on the endurance racing and here on IndyCar, so it's a pleasure working side by side with him. Apex Tracks, thank you so much for donating the prizes to this league and the other leagues. Shane Burke will be getting his Indianapolis model very soon. Thank you to yourself, Jake, and Will behind the cameras. Brilliant job for 2 seasons now. Will's going to bow out of producing the series, so big thank you to him and good luck on what he's doing to substitute this. And a shout out to my parents as usual for watching. But thank you to all drivers, all fans watching. Good night.
No worries, Alex Everitt there joining us, 4th position overall with that. We are going to jump in with a driver who ends up runner-up in the championship overall, Tim Stroh, here for the ride. Tim, you got a copy, buddy? Answer for the moment's going to be yes.
I'm here.
You're here. Perfect. Right, Tim. It was always going to be a long shot for the championship. Had to hope that Thijs was so ill he couldn't turn up. He wasn't. He was here. So then it just turned into focus about the race. But it looked like from leading the race, and your qualifying has been magnificent all season, it just looked like the moment you got put back in the pack a little bit, it was just so difficult for you to get by.
Yeah, I was trying to hold back. I wanted to position myself in the top 3 with probably 20 laps to go just to see how things shaked out, and I kind of got draft locked in and pushed back a little bit, so didn't go as planned. And then outside line was my preferred line, but it was also the preferred line of people in front of me, so kind of got a lot of aero push and was having to run the inside, and you just couldn't get enough grip to make the passes. So it was unfortunate, but it was a fun race, and yeah, you know, it happens here at Indy. It's a tough track to pass on the best of days, so you have to kind of expect that, I guess.
You certainly do. And in terms of the later stages, I know that you had your arms up in the air for you as it was a case to be made. You dropped back to 7th, but it was always going to be very frantic inside of the final 2 laps of the race, and effectively it was just a scramble to see who could push forward. And from your position where you're 5th, 6th, was it just a case of I can't really sacrifice that track position to get tyres?
Well, I mean, I was expecting someone to crash out in front of me, so I just want to put myself in the position where I was probably a little bit overcautious, to be honest. So yeah, the tires had 20 laps on them towards the end there, and even though we got the cautions to cool them down, I knew it was going to be hard to make the pass, but I was expecting that probably up front there was going to be some dicing going on, and I would pick up a few positions that way.
And in terms of next season, it's clear to absolutely everyone, every time we see you go to ovals, you are number 1 when it comes to 1-lap pace. In terms of mounting a challenge, trying to take it away from Thijs for next season, is that something that you're really looking to lock in on, especially seeing as that was your first season forward and there were just a couple of races where the luck just didn't turn in your favor?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm happy, don't get me wrong, with, you know, I guess you said finished 2nd overall? Is that...
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I mean, hats off to Thijs. All through the season, he was consistent, and he made really good strategy calls. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of races I can look back on and where I dropped some points where I was in good position. So, you know, I think if I would have had 3 races that, you know, would have went my way where I didn't make mistakes, and again, I mean, it was on me. It would have been a pretty tight race at the top, but you know, he did what he had to do. He ran well, you know, on both disciplines, on the road and the oval. So yeah, he's definitely deserved the championship.
Well, before we let you go then, Tim, shout out sponsors. Who gets it done for you? P7 here today, P2 overall in the championship.
Yeah, well, definitely want to thank my wife. She always does kid duty on these days, and you know, gives me a little bit extra time to practice. My parents, my brother, yeah, friends and family that are watching. So yeah, and also you again, Jake. Appreciate the commentary. It's always fun to look back and watch.
No worries at all. Timothy Stroh there, finishing off 7th overall in that race, 2nd in the championship, and a time right now. Let's jump in with the champion confirmed here after only needing to do 1 lap today to get that championship sorted, Thijs Barendregt. And Thijs, for you, effectively you'd have to call that your Michael Jordan flu race, because it looked like for all the world, like, will he be there, will he not? Jump in at the 11th hour, get yourself a top 5 for it. You know, you were just in the wrong place at the wrong time for the end, but that must have been a really tough effort for you.
Yeah, I've been ill since yesterday evening. I've been lying in bed all day. I waited till last month. I didn't do any practice, so I went into quali. I even made a mistake on my first quali lap, and had to do it on my second lap, so all the pressure was on. And didn't know how the car was going to run in the dirty air or even in the clean air. And I just had to try, and I know I only had to do one lap. But still, I was like, I want to win it. Made a mistake after the final yellow, with running a low line. Caught a lot of dirty air and fell back to like P7, P6. And in the end, I got one back from Ben with like 0.003 of a second.
Well, you take what you can get. It's 5th position. You can certainly smile at it. But talk us through your entirety of the season, because it looked like it was always going to be a tough-fought defence of your title. You managed to defend that title, and a lot of it came down not from the way that you were leading races, but the way that you had to battle back through races, and how the fortunes favoured and turned, and you found yourself up near the front. How crucial was it just to stay malleable in those situations, to give yourself room to go out there to attack, to effectively find the 4 or 5 wins that you had this season that pushed you over the edge for the title?
Yeah, it wasn't easy. Like, Timothy is amazingly strong in qualifying. I think there were like only 2 or 3 one oval, and I think and 2 in Gateway. That's the only oval he didn't qualify on pole, and on both road courses he didn't qualify on pole. But the rest he's been on pole like all the time. Like even today he was on pole, I think. Like, it's just mental how good he is in qualifying. So it's not my strongest part, and I know that. So I have to fight back, and as Timothy said, like, I had to do it on strategy. And well, like, you do need speed, but you gotta think out of the box to like gain on your opponent. And I think like Kentucky, I think that was the best one of them all. With the strategy, how it played out, like, it was so awesome with that strategy. But it was, yeah, I think we had some bad luck. With Iowa, like, Aspon hit Timothy, he had to tow back, so he lost like 2 laps or something. And I could just drive back to the pits and take the fast repair, and he had to tow. So just a bad luck where I finished 2nd and he finished like 9th or 10th. But the way of racing in the league is just so amazing. It's awesome. I love it. I'm looking forward to next season, and also to the break of racing IndyCars for a bit.
Absolutely, a good break needed, and especially after the Herculean effort tonight. Before we let you go, shout out sponsors. Who gets you done for your 2nd straight title, coming back surely for a 3-peat?
Yeah, first of all, yeah, I'm coming back for 3 in a row. But first of all, thanks to BRT, awesome job. Like the complete last year, racing with them in endurance in this league as well, with Lars, who joined this season, and also with Callum, who did one of the last season's Indy 100, or the first season Indy 100. It's really cool to have these guys supporting me, having the back of me, sending me good luck messages every time. Thanks to the Omega group, they've been awesome this whole season, and also the last bit of last season. And also thanks to my parents, who supported me even today when I was very ill. They knew how to do this race, and tried to help me get a bit better before the race. So really want to thank everyone that has helped me the last time. And also shout out to you two. And I heard that Will's gonna top with the producing, so good luck with your future endeavors. And thank you guys for the awesome season.
No worries at all there. Thijs Barendregt, a 2-time champion in the Crest Autosport IndyCar Series, and he won't be celebrating with champagne after this one. He'll be celebrating with a bottle of Calpol or whatever medicine he can get his hands on after a race like that. But that will just about do it for us here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. There'll be a couple months before we're back with you with iRacing action, but we are jumping over towards Race Room coming up soon, of course, the 5th of May. Put that in your calendar. That's when we start over at Portimao. Massive thanks to this wonderful, wonderful season for all of the companies that have helped get things done. Uncle Luke's Sign and Sticker Shop is one, definitely. 603 Autosport, 3D Wrap, Track Racer, Digital Motorsport, Esports Sim, the GP Box, and of course Apex Tracks, the motorsport and motor racing circuit wall art racetrack sculpture designers who manufacture using Formula One and motorsport inspired rapid prototyping technologies. From William Foyle bowing out for the final time as producer, myself, Jake Sparey here, who has been on this one talking to all of you. It's been a wonderful pleasure to bring you some amazing racing. It is Thijs's championship. He did 1 lap to prove it and did 99 to try and win again. But what a win that is for Shane Burke. He absolutely pushed himself to perfection. And that pass on lap 99 might just be the greatest one we've seen here in Crest Autosport. We'll see you very soon with more action here with all of you and Crest Autosport TV.